Hey everybody, Sarah here. So today I'm going to make a video that goes over blood red versus diffused in Cornsnakes. Now I made this similar video like last year before I had the software to put photos up on the screen to show you guys what I'm talking about, and it is one of the most liked and most requested redos, so I'm going to go ahead and redo it for you guys. Also, if you haven't already, go check out my last video. It was a book review. I am doing a giveaway of all books that I review as long as you comment on a book review video. Plus, it was really funny. We all had a lot of laughs, and I had a lot of fun making that video. So please remember to subscribe and go check out my website, sarahsnakeshop.com, for merch and snakes that are available, and also go check out that book review. It was pretty hilarious, especially near the end. Hey guys, Future Sarah here in editing. I just wanted to let you know I had one more announcement, and that is that the second edition of my first book is available on my website. Finally, again, if you purchased the first edition of the first book, which is Cornsnake Cultivar Compilation Volume 1, it will not have an edition number on it. If you purchased that book, whether from me or from someone else, please let me know if you have not received either an email or a letter in the mail with the discount code to get that book for free off of my website. Only people who purchase the first edition get the second edition free, but if you're interested in the updated version, it is available on my website right now. And like I said, if you purchased the original one, whether from me or from someone else, please send me an email to sarahsnakeshop@gmail.com. That's in the description down below if you would like to copy and paste instead of type it all out. Send me an email if you did not receive either something in the mail or if you did not receive an email. I sent an email to everyone who I know purchased a book and I had their email address, but if I did not have your email address and I only had your physical address from when I was sending out physical books, then I probably used your physical address. I just want to make sure that everyone who I promised a free copy of this book to actually gets their free copy. And of course, if you do not want it for free and you would like to spend money to support me, I would also appreciate that, of course. But you now have the opportunity between now and the 1st of March to get that free copy of that book if you have a copy of the first book. Like I said, even if you didn't buy it from me, just send me some sort of proof that you have purchased it from somewhere, and I will make sure to get you that code. Thank you for watching. I'm sending you back to the other video now. So now I'm going to actually start talking about the origins of blood red and diffused. I'm actually going to start out with blood red itself because that is the first term that came up when it comes to this weird convoluted morph thing that's going on. So blood red was, like I said, the original mutation. The pattern on the sides is faded out. It is kind of diffused, which is where we get the diffused term. And the bellies are mostly patternless, which means they don't have belly checkers. Sometimes they will have splotching of the main snake's color. When I am referring to any of these things this time, we're not going to be talking about like different mixtures. So we're not going to be talking about like, you know, anery versus or anery diffused or caramel diffused or anything like that. We are just strictly talking about the normal color. Because when you mix in other colors, like obviously it's hard to have like a caramel blood red because caramels are yellow, blood reds are red. This is a really weird terminology. So just assume, at least for this video right now, that we're not talking about when you're mixing it with other mutations. We're just talking about the normal version. When this mutation first originated, they were all a very dark red color. And that's, of course, where the term blood red came from, was because they were this very dark red. But as they've been outcrossed into different lines, even different lines of normal, they have been kind of losing this blood red coloration, and they have become a little bit more orangey over time. This is where that divide between blood red and diffuse actually starts to happen because, like I said, you have these really dark blood red color, but then you also have these that aren't blood red, but they still have that pattern. Kathy and Bill Love mentioned in their book, The Cornsnake Manual, that Ed developed blood red by breeding snakes that showed the pattern as well as the extra red. They call it hypererythrism, which is an additional red, similar to what we would consider to be red factor today. I do want to mention that we don't know for sure if that's what actually causes the extra red. but they do make it very clear that when Ed was developing these snakes, the blood reds were only the ones that had both the excess red and the pattern as well. And Kathy even mentioned that it's possible that there is a red enhancing mutation that would cause that extra red, whereas the other ones would not be as red. And again, this is where that divide continues to happen between blood red and diffused. If anyone has their own copy of the Cornsnake manual and would like to look in where this is, I have the one that came out in 2000. It's copyright 2000, and it's on page 117 of that book if you would like to reference your own book. If you don't have your own book, remember I'm going to be doing book reviews, and this is actually the book that I'm going to review next month. So if you don't have a copy of the Cornsnake manual and you would like a copy, I'm going to be reviewing it and giving it away. So subscribe and keep an eye out for that if you were really interested in getting a free copy of that book. Now, this next piece of information is coming from Rich Zukowski. It was originally posted on his Serpent Co website, which is no longer available, but he did upload this same information to cornsnakes.com, and I will put this link down below for you guys if you would like to go read the whole thing. I'm just going to read a little bit of an excerpt. This is from the third paragraph of what's in that link. Quote, "It is not at all unusual to get F1 animals that may mature to be nearly blood red in appearance, yet lack the classic abdominal coloration." That abdominal coloration being the red blotches, like the red splotching that can happen on the belly. Then, on the other hand, you may also get animals that will appear to be completely normal colored, yet have a large proportion of the abdominal area nearly white, with just traces of black pattern on the very edges of the abdomen. And the reason that I picked this was because I think it points out two very important things. One is that some of the offspring are very red, like blood reds, but some of them aren't. Some of them are completely normal colored. And so this to me solidifies that there was a definite separation, most likely a gene mutation that was most likely dominant, that was red, that added red similar to a red factor mutation would, which makes me think, and again, this is just going off of things that I've read in the past and just little tiny bits here and there that I've picked up through books, that there probably was a red enhancing mutation in the original blood reds that did not always pass on to all of the offspring. And that's how a lot of dominant traits work, similar to mask, which I'll talk about in just a second. But if you consider, if you have let's say a coral ghost that's only red factor, not homozygous red factor, and you breed it to a regular ghost, you'll get about half coral ghosts and half regular ghosts. And that's what we're kind of seeing with this blood red thing, is some of the offspring are coming out looking blood red, some of them aren't. Some of them are coming out looking completely like normal colored, as he mentioned. Now, the other very important part of this, of course, is the second half, where he talks about the black that lines up along the edges, and that is mask. That's what mask does. And when this was written originally, mask was probably not isolated yet. So a lot of people back then thought that mask meant het blood red, when in fact it's actually its own mutation. So there's a potential for us working with three different mutations here. The possible red factor type mutation, the obvious diffused pattern mutation, and then the dominant mask mutation as well. So obviously it's getting very complex very quickly, and that's why it took so long for us to isolate everything in all of this mess. I'm not going to go over mask in this video specifically. I'm going to give mask its own video in the future. Maybe that'll be the Morph deep dive for next month, if that's one that you guys really want to hear about. But I also want to mention that mask interfered with isolating pied as well, because it was so hidden underneath everything for so long. I did a video on pied. If you guys want to go check it out, I will link it above for you guys. So aside from mask, there is still a debate on what makes up blood red versus diffused. Many people wanted to distinguish the two terms without admitting that there was any kind of red enhancing gene mutations in the line. Most people, especially people who bred old school blood reds, still to this day will tell you that there were no red enhancing mutations in the original lines. So the original blood reds, according to them, do not have any red factor or anything like that in them. So the easiest way to determine a blood red versus a diffused was to say, well, all the original blood reds we're also mask, so why don't we use the term blood red to mean diffused plus mask? And then diffused can just be any diffused snake that doesn't have mask. But then we run into other problems where we see very obvious diffused plus mask corn snakes that are not red at all and are somewhat orangey. And that's not even, like I said, that's not even including other gene mutations that could be mixed in with them. This has led a lot of breeders in the hobby to designate blood red for just like any diffused that is redder, and then diffused for any diffused that is not redder, whether a mask is involved or not. Now, this hobby is constantly evolving and things are changing all the time, especially as we learn new information. And so this is not really completely settled yet. I will tell you my preferences, but I'm also curious to hear yours. I mean, my preference would be a blood red is pretty much any diffuse, whether there's mask or not, that is extra red. I think that the whole point, if I'm understanding the Loves book correctly, that Ed Leach wanted specifically the blood red diffused snakes to only, like, those would be the only ones to be called blood red. The ones that weren't red, he did not call those blood red, at least if I'm interpreting the Loves book correctly. So given what the original producer of these actually wanted, I think that if we add a red enhancing mutation, and we can still call it blood red, whether it has mask or not, I think as long as it's diffused, plus you add an extra red enhancing mutation, I would call that a blood red. A red factor diffuse, I think that that would be considered a blood red, because it seems like, based on the information that Eddie Leach had in the beginning, that is what he originally intended. Now, a lot of people who bred old school blood reds, like I said, are not going to say that. They're going to say that there's definitely not any red enhancing mutations in the originals, and that could be true. We definitely don't have proof 100% that there were red enhancing gene mutations in the original blood reds. So there's definitely going to be a group of people that say no, the old school blood reds are just really, really red snakes that were selectively bred to be red. But they might also say that the outcrossed, anything that's pretty much outcrossed that is not that dark red color naturally, those are going to just be considered diffused no matter what they're mixed with. And then you're still going to get that group of people, especially people who might have entered the hobby within the last 5 to 7 years or so, that will go to Ian's Vivarium to look at what blood red is supposed to be, and blood red is listed as diffused plus mask. And so you're going to definitely have a group of people who think that, you know, mask plus diffused, that is what a blood red is, because it is easy to break down just like, oh, let's use a term for this combination of genetics, and we could do that. So I am really curious to hear your thoughts on this. Like, what camp do you sit in? Do you sit in the it has to be red to be a blood red camp? Do you sit in the no, it's the combination of mask and diffuse, that's a blood red? Or do you sit somewhere else? What's your opinion on this? I would definitely love to know. Please let me know in the comments. That's all that I have for this video. Thank you for watching. Please remember to subscribe. It really, really helps the channel, and it helps me continue to be motivated. Like the video if you liked it. Again, or even dislike it. I just want to hear your feedback so that I know better what you guys like and what you guys enjoy and what you don't, so I know better how to give you guys the content that you love. I'll see you in the next video, which is going to be a show-off video. I'm going to be showing off some snakes, and I might also show off some like feeding stuff, especially since I still have a few babies that are feeding boiled. I thought I might talk about how to feed baby snakes boiled rodent, something like that. Or I also considered talking about times that I have rescued snakes and give you guys the stories of snakes that I've rescued in the past. So if either of those things are something you're interested in, please comment and let me know which one. Again, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.